Joining us now to react is Article 3 project founder and president Mike Davis. Also joining all morning long this morning is Adam Johnson, James Freeman, and Mike Baker. Mike, thanks very much for joining the conversation this morning. Give us your reaction.
This indictment is actually worse than what was reported in the news. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, a George Soros-funded prosecutor, brought a purely political indictment of President Trump. It doesn't even allege the legal basis for the indictment. So it is a sham political prosecution, just like we expected. Again, it's even worse than we expected. This is part of a pattern by Democrats. This is lawfare by Democrats. This is election interference. They're trying to interfere with the election. They're trying to take out Trump with an indictment because they fear that they can't beat him in the polls.
Can anything happen to change that weaponization, and do you think it will stop Trump?
I actually think it's going to make Trump stronger. I think it's going to guarantee that Trump's back in the White House in January 2025. What can happen immediately is Trump's lawyers should file a motion to dismiss the indictment. That's going to be it should be dismissed immediately if we had a fair justice system in New York, but we don't have one because these are Democrats party judges in Manhattan, and the state judges have been appointed by Democrat judges for the Democrat governors for the last 17 years since Pataki was governor.
Yeah.
But Jim Jordan from the House Judiciary Committee should start issuing subpoenas immediately. Alvin Bragg has weaponized the Manhattan DA's office. He brought in a very senior Biden Justice Department official, Matthew Colangelo, to come in and serve as the political hatchet man for this investigation. So Jim Jordan should get moving on subpoenas.
Wow, that is scary. Mike Baker, go ahead.
Mike, I know that you feel like in a pragmatic, nonpartisan world, this indictment would be tossed. But do you anticipate this going to trial?
I do, just because I don't think Trump is going to get a fair trial with this judge, and he's certainly not going to get a fair trial with a Manhattan jury pool that is like 95% Trump deranged. And so I think this will have to get resolved on appeal, and frankly, I think this is going to have to get resolved by the presidential election in 2024.
Wow. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, Mike, I guess along the same lines, we're wondering how this kind of abuse can be addressed. Is there any way, given that D.A. Bragg is saying there's some federal crime which he doesn't actually detail, does that give Trump any opening to go to a federal court, maybe in a less hostile area, to intervene in some way?
That would be very difficult to go from a state court to federal court. He needs to raise his federal claims in state court, but there are several House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. Section 5 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution requires that states provide equal protection and due process to their citizens, and Congress has an oversight responsibility in that regard. Also, Alvin Bragg took federal funds, including federal funds for this Trump case. Alvin Bragg is contorting federal election law. Remember, the prior Manhattan DA declined to prosecute these charges at Alvin Bragg's urging when he worked in the New York Attorney General's office. The Manhattan U.S. Attorney declined to prosecute these charges. The Federal Election Commission declined to do anything about these allegations, and Alvin Bragg himself declined these allegations. And then he got heat from the left. A couple of his unethical prosecutors quit and wrote books and ran to the media. So that's when Alvin Bragg in December brought in this Matthew Colangelo, this political operative, political appointee, former NAACP attorney for 7 years, former Obama Justice Department person under Eric Holder, former Obama White House. He worked in the New York AG's office. He was the guy who did lawfare against Trump, Trump Foundation, Trump finances, Trump administration. He served as the acting Associate Attorney General for Biden, the number 3. And then that's where he did a lot of the left-wing lawfare against Christians, praying outside of abortion clinics while giving amnesty to abortion activists, terrorizing Catholic churches, crisis pregnancy centers, and Supreme Court justices in their homes.
By the way, you said it's pattern, which reminds me of the Russia collusion lie. FBI Director James Comey praised these charges. He posted on Twitter, quote, "Another good day." When the indictment first came down, he posted a good day. Comey has been tweeting another good day. The former president just posted on Truth Social this morning, calling on Republicans in Congress to defund the FBI and the Department of Justice. And that's what I was talking about earlier, Adam Johnson, and that was using the appropriations process. Real quick, jump in here, Adam.
Yeah, mind-boggling that a former director of the FBI would be so political. Question for you, Mike. D.A. Bragg said that these were 34 crimes or counts which covered up several other crimes. At what point does D.A. Bragg have to reveal what those other crimes actually were?
That's a very good question. I would say 34 times 0 is 0. There is nothing here, and Alvin Bragg knows there's nothing here. The press leaks are that he's going to use a federal election statute to trump up these misdemeanors at best for bookkeeping violations where the statute of limitations has expired back in 2018 and transformed these into somehow New York felonies. This is a zombie case. This was a zombie case within the Manhattan DA's office. Bragg knew it was a zombie case until he brought in Matthew Colangelo from the Biden Justice Department to revive this zombie case.